Hey everybody, what's going on? Feel free to check out links in the description to get going with a lot of the things that are going on, as well as subscribe for more videos. Feel free to check out the community tab to see when I go live. Let's get started. Today I'd like to, talk a little bit about a little bit of backstory, a little bit of, where I'm at today versus the last 10 or 20 years. I've been using the internet since probably mid to late 1997, 98. That back in the day, the internet was pretty slow. People would actually create websites and content and discuss things. Nowadays, of course, there's a lot of political wrangling, crying about bullshit and whatnot, but it kind of is what it is. But today, I'd like to talk briefly about how things have changed over the years and, basically what's been going on. Growing up here in a fairly small town of about 2,000 or 3,000 people for the first 40 years of my life. Of course, the family was kind of half-assed. Of course, school, tried to act like because, it's hard to use one of my hands that all of a sudden I can't write, I can't focus, all this, that, and the other. So in school, they tried to help out where they could, which I appreciate. But then as I got into like junior high and high school, they started to talk shit, think they're special, etc., etc. Now, in most cases, that's pretty typical. You go through a lot of nonsense, deal with morons, etc. But when I started using the internet at the library, of course they'd have their imaginary stupidity, thinking, what is the internet? And I'm on there every day and blah, blah, blah. And even when I got a computer later on, they thought, I was up to this, that, and the other. That's neither here nor there. Now, probably I'd say back in 94, 95, when I was like 18, 20, 21 years old, of course, you had a lot of, I was hanging out with friends, doing things, going to school and, shooting hoops and fucking around online and hanging out and doing, every day, this, that, and the other. But of course, since, family and the rest of the community wanted to judge people that I hung out with, people that, I knew, pretty well. I still know, fairly well, even though I haven't talked to them probably about 15 years. But, like I said, going through school, I met a couple, cool friends of mine. Even back, 20 years ago, we used to go out to eat and out to hang out, go bowling, shoot hoops, play darts and pool and whatever. Have a few beers, talk shit, watch movies, whatever. But, growing up, I've dealt with a lot of, seeing how my aunts and uncles grew up, hanging out with my grandparents from when they were my age until they both passed in 2006 and 2020 respectively. Of course, that's what happens when you get old, I guess. Not looking forward to that 20 or 30 or 40 years down the road. But anyways, and then probably about 94, 95, when I was like 21, idiots started, thinking just because, I could smoke and have a couple beers and do this, that, and the other, that all of a sudden I was, putting up, things and that for people that were still growing up, so like teens and stuff like that. Now, I deal with everybody, whether they're 12, whether they're 50. If you're a normal person, no problem. Do what you do, meet friends, hang out, get to know people. I mean, I've seen all the friends that my grandparents hung out with over the last probably half of their life. So, being sociable, I found, works wonders. But then again, I think people, that judge stuff, whether they're family, whether they're through school, whether they're through the community, can be kind of crackheads at times. Anyways, I started, going to the library, hanging out, whatever. Then, about 20 years ago, back in 2001, when my mom died from brain cancer, I was hanging out, doing my thing, whatever, and the legal system, not having any kind of record as a kid, not fucking around, stealing shit, doing, all that bullshit as a kid, they thought it'd be a great idea to, start some bullshit based on, friends of friends that were kind of, a little bit off in the head to begin with, I think, looking in hindsight, you know. And of course, to each their own in that regard, but they started, pulling some bullshit and actually, wound up wasting 2 years of my life on shit that isn't even legit. Now, even after that fact, over the probably 10 to 20 years since then, people have been judgmental. People have been, even my own family, when I stick up for myself, they've known me since most of them were, in their teens and tweens and, growing up, etc. Even they, me sticking up for myself is kind of a big deal to them, even though they probably do the same kind of bullshit if they were in the same situation. Now, in my hometown, where I lived for the first 40 years of my life, my cousins would get hired, my aunts and uncles would get hired for jobs, and all this. I applied for jobs ever since just prior to graduating high school, all the way through, that point, whether it be the grocery store, the mall, Target, whatever. There always been some kind of bullshit ass excuse and whatever. But then, after my mom died, and over that 10 or 12 years after that, they, started, pulling shit, saying shit, basically discriminating. And then, fast forward about 10, 12 years, and the day when they were supposed to calm the fuck down and get over themselves, they tried to press an illegal search and seizure based on imaginary stupidity to try to, take my laptop about 2.5, 3 hours from where I was living at the time, where I grew up, try to, make an imaginary charge, make themselves look special so they could try to discriminate for the remainder of my life. Of course, that backfired and failed horribly, which, my aunts and uncles were like, you shouldn't stand up for yourself, whatever you do. Even though, I knew for a fact, and I went to state senators, even the governor at the time who became temporary liaison or ambassador to China under Trump, and then decided to quit that job. But like I said, I've always been the kind of thing. I'm not like a snitch, but I don't put up with bullshit. If you're gonna act stupid, get the fuck out. But anyways, long story short, if something ain't right, I'm like all for like the challenges in basketball and football. Well, if you fucked up, I'm gonna tell you about it. But since then they tried to actually go as far as getting me mentally evaluated because they were fucked in the head to begin with, trying to press charges, trying to make something permanent that expired 10 years ago. All right. Now, that being the case, trying to get mentally evaluated, try to search for imaginary stupidity that they were probably into more likely, that failed, got the stuff back, whatever. And then they, tried to pull the same shit, acting like I shouldn't be online. I had no right to publish content, write ebooks, do blogs, do podcasting, all this, shit, based on their imaginary stupidity, based again on the discrimination, the harassment, the stupidity that, they think clapping and drilling is a job skill, basically. But anyways, I've been writing ebooks since 2011, websites since August 2004, online advertising website from 2004 to 2015 or so, podcasting, online communities through PHP, blogging through WordPress, learning subdomains and helping friends out and whatever. And even back in the day, me and friends had to smack online idiots around for a long period of time. And they thought, waiting until I was asleep to post 400 copies of the same shit so people wouldn't take me seriously, was something. So, of course, I had to own their ass for the reason banned, being like a random 2 or 3 digit number, just so they'd try to look up that numbered reason all over the internet to try to keep the morons occupied and whatnot, or whatever. I mean, these are people that, back in the early days of the internet, prior to YouTube, prior to a lot of this shit, they thought licking toilet seats at a truck stop was a job skill. Alright? And of course, good thing one of them's dead now, because they would not be able to cope with AI, with YouTube, whatever. I mean, their attempt at YouTube for the between 2005 and 2009 or 10, not even a, an adequate go, if you will. But like I said, I mean, I've always been, an entrepreneur, into business, into activity, into being sociable, whatever. And of course, writing books and doing videos and stuff is, kind of a thing to do. So, like I said, if anybody likes to support what's going on, feel free to check the links in the description. Watch videos clear through. Enough of this watching 2 minutes of 15-minute live stream and then playing in the toilet with the rest of your friends. Actually watch videos, learn something, interact with people through the comments below, etc. Take care, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.